from Disneyland News today. B-Mode Rising Maleficent returns to Fantasmic at Disneyland. Mickey disappearing effect still not active. After nearly 4 months of Maleficent remaining on the ground, she once again rises into the air during Fantasmic at Disneyland. Yes, Maleficent is back to B-Mode. Isn't that great, guys? Isn't that fantastic? Been restored to B-Mode, not A-Mode. Can't have the dragon. Can't even talk about it.
Not even a la mode.
Bash, there is a good. Okay. Can't even get 2% dragon in it. It's 0% dragon, and that makes me upset. Like, could you imagine the end of Star Wars? Instead of a big lightsaber fight, they were just like, you know what? We had a good day. Let's all go home. You know, buy the souvenirs, everybody. Like, is this the standard we have at Disney now? Is this what we have?
I guess it is. 2 years ago now, a little more than 2 years ago, well, this fateful event happened and the dragon was taken away from us. Oh, Murphy the dragon. It's just an amazing effect right there. Actually debuted as part of Summer Night-tastic. Actually, they missed that promotion, ironically enough, because there were so many technical issues. That's a big foul up, Nolan, because they had marketing and advertising for that specific promotion, all featuring the dragon. And well, the dragon wasn't there for the entire event.
It was there. It was an invisible dragon.
It was burnt barbecue, Lou. That's what it was.
Well, now it's burnt
Aren't they
barbecue,
serving
which is
at
unfortunate.
Isle of Burke barbecue dragon? No.
That's a fair point. When Fantasmic returned to Disneyland a year after the Maleficent Dragon Fire, Maleficent appeared in a potentially permanent B mode. With the dragon destroyed, the human version of Maleficent would stand on a rising platform during the show's finale, towering over Mickey. Since the second show on March 17, 2025, Maleficent has been stuck in C mode. First Fantasmic performance that evening abruptly ended during the show's finale. During the second performance, Maleficent only walked back and forth on the porch of the cider mill. She remained in this C mode. See the video below for weeks, and you can kind of see right here. You can see Mickey kind of walking out on stage, and then you see Maleficent just kind of, waving her wand there, and then she just kind of walks around the stage, and they look menacing and threatening towards each other. That's kind of how that whole thing goes. It's not quite the great finale that Nolan actually talked about right there.
No. You're missing the whole point. The dragon's there. You just have to imagine it. That's why he says some imagination.
Oh, like I can imagine myself going home for the day.
I'm watching Mickey run. Does he usually disappear here or something?
He shows up on the roof for the big finale with the lasers.
Well, that's the other thing about that effect, Lou. So apparently that disappearing effect hasn't been working either. We're all thinking that the lift that actually, transports Mickey from, the underbelly of this kind of show performance space to the stage actually might not be working. And Walt Disney World News Today actually notes this, actually. The finale is still not quite in working order. As well, Mickey's disappearing and reappearing effect has been absent for months. We last saw it working on February 7th. So again, that's another diminishment of this. And this follows within the last year or so, this kind of pyro issue that they had there with pyro accidentally going off and then pyro actually being disabled for a number of months right there. And then just recently, actually, the Mark Twain wasn't even going. So, people talked about G mode. It's like, what state of Fantasmic are we in at this point? We don't even know. Nolan, you had your hand up. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, one, we're seeing the backup of the backup of the backup. But I went ahead and looked this up while you were speaking there. Fantasmic opened in 1992.
I was there.
He was there for that because Lou is a cool man and much cooler than I am, apparently. But besides Lou's coolness, this show was a must-see show for years. And yet, ever since this dragon incident happened, all of a sudden now, everything is breaking. I'm sorry, did the Imagineers in the late 80s, early 90s were like, you know what? Let's have everything break all at once. No. This is showing signs that something has been going horribly wrong in the past few years. What is the issue and what do they need to fix? And something is getting neglected here. Because I'm sorry, if your finale is supposed to have a whole giant dragon, I'm paying for a dragon, there better be a dragon.
I was just going to say, to be fair, kind of on the other coast, because I'm over here on the east. On the 7th of July, they added a massive effect to the Magic Kingdom, where it's, you talk about the disappearing Mickey being gone there. Well, at the Magic Kingdom, they made magic disappear completely. They made an island disappear. They made rivers disappear. They made a boat disappear all at the same time. It was crazy. It was just like, it's all gone.
It's a pretty impressive effect, I will say. And Clifflix comes in here with affordability, actually. Fantasmic is a very expensive show to operate every night. They simply can't afford it anymore. And look, I would say, Clifflix, that is true. This is a very expensive show. However, as Nolan had pointed out there, or at least alluded to, at least at Disneyland, this show really generates revenue now, as opposed to just being a money suck for the company, because they sell unbelievable amounts of dining packages. In fact, I have theorized that they sell as many as 4,000 of those dining packages every single night, given the performance area and how many how much capacity they actually rope off and dedicate for people actually going for those
really,
those dining packages.
When you said every night, they sell the dining packages where you eat during the day and then you come back to the reserve thing with a pass or something too. So it isn't just how many times can we turn the tables in the restaurants at the dinner hour. It's all afternoon.
If we just do the average, right, of let's say $80 a meal, and we times that by 4,000 guests that might actually be engaging in those dining packages, that takes us up to $320,000. Now, remember, there's not one performance of Fantasmic per night. There's two. And that takes us to well over $500,000 at $640,000. There is no excuse to have this particular show in this state. I understand it's expensive to operate. I understand that it's very technical, right? And again, you have to maintain a lot of these effects and so forth. But to have like 2 barges come out instead of 3, to have Aladdin and Jasmine not floating around on their carpet like they should be, and just have this kind of static effect on the island, to have like the Mark Twain not come out and you see this glorious finale after not seeing the dragon, it's just it all kind of adds up to what is essentially a shell of a show that you may have paid, as many as $160 for to actually see. It's not acceptable. This is not acceptable.
This is the big end of the night spectacular outside of the fireworks at Disneyland, right there. There's no electrical parade or anything like that there. This is
right. And the fireworks are between the 2 shows. Okay. So almost immediately after the first show is over, they shift to the fireworks, and then they come back to do this again.
Yeah, and they actually use some of that infrastructure over there for Fantasmic as part of the fireworks show now, which is a nice use of that tech. But again, that's actually more impetus or more incentive, I should say, to maintain all the effects of this amazing show. Again, like you said, Nolan, it debuted in 1992, right? I remember being there for some of its first performances.
Vanilla Ice was probably there, man.
Look, I have so many amazing memories tied in with this show. And look, I mean, some people might say, well, it's just a theme park show. What's the big deal? No, like anywhere between, I calculated it out, anywhere between 24% to 36% of the guests at Disneyland for the day actually see this show between its 2 performances nightly. I mean, this is a big deal for a lot of people. As I've said before, attractions, they definitely book vacation packages, no question, especially good ones, right? But entertainment keeps you coming back. And this is
more to the point.
It's so important for the economy of this park.
The food and show packages.
Right.
Chances are, if the show isn't working or it's degraded from your old memories, not only are you not going to stick around for it, you're not even going to eat dinner in the park. You're going to say, well, we'll stop at Denny's on the way home. It's cheaper. As opposed to saying, well, it's a special deal. We'll lay out the $80 for the dinner and the, So
yes.
It's called penny wise, pound foolish is what it's called. And I mean, even just as far as maintenance is concerned, usually, except in very peak seasons, the Twain and the Columbia don't run at the same time. It's one or the other. Well, even if it's a season, which is a lot of the year when the Columbia isn't running, it still has to work at night, which means it has to be maintained. It has to have a crew, and it has to,
right.
So there are expenses involved in every little bit of this, is all I'm trying to say. And they figure all that out and say, do it. As opposed to, well, what if we cut out makes you wonder if somebody burned the dragon on purpose, but then that's just conspiratorial and
And
nonsense.
the more things you cut out of the show, the more it just becomes another Disney show, which means all
Yes.
the budget you're pouring into this becomes irrelevant. You need
Right.
this as a crowd pleaser, a showstopper. And yet, when they just completely mutilate it, so to speak, they're not going to come back. And just think of all the profits that are lost. The video you can see of the dragon erupting into flames, I kind of dawned on me, like, I don't think I've ever seen anything more symbolic with the Bob Iger era here ever since
a fair
his
point.
return. The only thing missing is, piles of money burning in the background, like that scene in The Dark Knight.
Well, but see, wait, there's one more aspect to this that's relevant to today and the rivers of America. Somebody at some point when this was being discussed, I mean, taking out, Tom Sawyer's and everything, said, but what about all the people who loved this over the years and come to rekindle those memories? Big deal. They're dying off. They're not spending money. Big deal. We'll give them new memories and the new thing. That attitude of totally scoffing at what should be as opposed to what you're willing to present because you've changed your calculations is the same thing here. It's just the same thing.
So, yes, absolutely. And I think about the dragon, and I believe the cost of it was estimated to be around $10 million. And again, that made its debut a long time ago. Man, I can't remember the exact year, but I thought it was like 2007 or something like that. But I could be wrong. But let's say a new dragon would cost, let's say double that, right? $20 million. Well, at $640,000 a night, potentially of revenue brought in just from those dining packages alone. We're not talking about any of those, like, Lou, I do believe they do dessert packages still. You have Couple 3. You got, other areas of revenue as well. Well, at $640,000 a night, that's paid off. $20 million investment in 1 month. Now, again, that's not all profit, but go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, how many dinner packages are available for the television show Iron Heart? Let me make the point here. If Disney's willing to spend literally hundreds of millions to billions of dollars on their entertainment projects that are failure after failure after failure after failure, why not put some of that money back into the parks where they can recoup it almost instantaneously? It's ridiculous. This is the problem with having a leader who is not a parks guy or who is not into the parks. I don't know if Josh tomorrow becomes the next CEO. Hopefully he is really into the parks, even though he's made bad decisions. A lot of that could change if he becomes CEO and goes, okay, well, I at least know that the parks need attention and we're going to put money into them. Now, some of the decisions have been horrible in the parks, the investments that they have made. Galaxy's Edge is not, yeah.
Let me ask you a question. If you were hiring an interior decorator to redo your house and a guy showed up who dressed like a little boy that way, would you think his taste was any good?
No.
Well,
I know
that's
say
a
they
petty
need-
thing I keep saying, but my God, the guy can't even buy pants and a coat that make him look like anything other than the cadet section at Saks in 1965.
He likes his skinny clothes. What can I say? But
anyway,
all I can say is he's a nice enough guy. I've met him on one occasion, just tomorrow. I've never met Bob Iger. All I'm saying is that the Disney company that makes the most money off of its parks needs a CEO who cares about the parks, needs a CEO who cares about entertainment in the parks. It doesn't matter how many intellectual properties that you can bring to life through rides and everything else. If you don't have both the success with the IPs actually creating, like, for example, they just brought back Little Mermaid. You're showing it on the screen, Little Mermaid at Disney World Hollywood Studios, which is a show that I got to say is 1,000 times superior to the New Villains show. And it's basically just a retelling of the story of the Little Mermaid. But the 1989 classic film is so good, it can be retold 1,000 times, and the music is fabulous, and you can love it every single time, and it just gets better. What did the Beatles do? So it just keeps getting better every single time I see it. And that's what you need. You need things that people love and will love over and over again, like this show. But people are that love is going to be diminished incredibly if you take things away from it that are the most beloved parts. So if you have a dragon that is broke, you should immediately fix it. It's just, why is that so hard? It's an easy concept.
I don't know. And the fact that we haven't even heard anything about it, I have heard from very reputable people that they might actually be working on it, indeed. But we just haven't heard anything about it. We haven't gotten assurances from Disney that, hey, this fan favorite effect is actually coming back and coming back in a big, big way. Not even that, Disney? Come on. For the day that Mark Twain wasn't actually operable and all the characters were actually on the island itself, it was $164 to walk into the park that day. And hey, you go ahead and add that on to a dinner package if you actually used one in order to see this show. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Disney, come on. You got to do better than this.
Well, why doesn't Disney capitalize on it? I don't know. Maybe I've seen too many sci-fi monster movies, but like, why don't they bring it back as like a mecha dragon, like coming back for revenge against Disney or something like that with laser beams? Show us a reason why this took so long. Because, we're kind of used to,
that's fair.
We've seen it with, Epcot and stuff, stuff finally makes a grand return and then it's kind of lackluster compared to its predecessor. Like, give us a good reason why good things come to those who wait. Because what we're seeing right now is...
It comes back as a giant drone, and it flies in, and it's breathing over the audience of fire.
Nolan, the other version of that expression is, the things that come to those who wait are the things that were not already taken by those who came first.
Very true. And if I could say one more thing on it, too.
Please.
Imagineers of old would see this as an opportunity, if Eisner's willing to give them the budget on it. We just had that incredible show from Isla Burke at Epic Universe, The Untrainable Dragon, where the dragon is literally flying over the audience and lands on the stage. Why don't they like, hey, we're still operating on like 90s tech here. Why don't we update the show in a greater way than ever before? And maybe avoid, I don't know, the dragon erupting on fire during the show. And yet I'm concerned. I'm rather concerned by this.
I am very concerned as well. This stuff didn't used to happen, folks. Like Lou said, this show used to be expertly maintained. Now, not so much.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.